And if my memory serves me right, it's gonna be a home game, I believe, para sa Abra. Basta either Abra or Nueva Ecija, it's gonna be played in either or's home court. So that's, regardless, that's definitely gonna be a game na dapat abangan natin lahat. I'm sure everybody has that marked on their calendars. July 12th.
Yeah. Two of the hottest teams in the league right now. Abra is in the midst of a 12-game winning run. Obviously, Nueva Ecija undefeated, 15-0. Mecca escapes, floats it up. Wala pa rin siyang putos dito. Boy, and also, it comes at a time where both of them, Nueva Ecija and Abra, have beefed up their lineups, Javi.
That's why it's very exciting to see that, considering all the changes that they've made. Of course, Nueva Ecija coming in with JP Calvo and Nick Demusis. Abra, meanwhile, we already saw the announcement earlier today, Jeo Chu joining them to beef up their front line. While we also saw during that last home game of theirs, Simon Camacho was sitting behind the Weavers bench. So I do expect him to be a new part of their team. And I believe there might be another player coming in. I'm just not sure who.
Yan nga eh. Merong mystery player na sasali para dito sa Abra. Abangan nyo yan. Adlawan, relentless. Mecca grabs the offensive rebound. And a little bit out of sorts are Cebu. Another turnover leads to more turnover para dito sa Cebu.
It took them that long.
Para dito sa Cebu.
It took them that long. More than 12 minutes.
JC. His shot rolls out. Mecca facing a double team. Release pass to Ken Holmvis, who fires from beyond the arc and rattles it in. 5 straight points for Cebu. 91-61. Tancinco inside, Ayaay, flip shot, no good. Holmvis clears it for Cebu. Holmvis, long free. Back-to-back three-pointers for Ken Holmvis. Third guy in double figures with 12 points. Also 7 rebounds. John Wilson sa bandang kaliwa. Nice bawiin yung tres, short. Mecca tracks it down. Will not force the issue. Pulls it back out to Adlawan. Martel. You could see Coach Paulo Hubalde directing traffic from the sidelines, but those turnovers have been costly against Cebu.
It's really very difficult para sa Cebu to really keep the basketball on their side of the floor, considering wala nga silang true point guard.
Foul number 25,
29-point lead. Fast break the game, at sa atin Extreme Cool Air Conditioners. Ang Extreme magpalamig, free installation for split-type air conditioners.
And Nueva Ecija has been unforgiving on the defensive end, just really trapping to their heart's content and trying to force a lot of errors on these Cebu players.
Head of Operations, Emereta. Head of Security, Rudy Distrito. You got Joe Ramos and Commissioner Kenneth Turemnes. Mecca committing his first foul. Almost 4 minutes gone by here in the fourth quarter. Nueva Ecija in cruise control after a tight first half. And what do you think about the performances in their first games of Nick Demuses and JP Calvo para dito sa Nueva Ecija, Javi?
The Muses has definitely given a lot of energy, especially on the glass para sa Nueva Ecija. JP Calvo, still a little bit of getting used to trying to play with his current batch of teammates, but I'm sure the veteran that he is, that he'll be able to adjust eventually.
Brian Mecca finally getting himself on the board with his first 2 points. Demuses with a steal. John Wilson fires. No. Meneses grabs the rebound. For Cebu, no more Jeco Bancale. He is now with Mindoro. And from what I understand, maglalaro na rin yan on Saturday si Jeco. Yun nga eh, hinahabangan natin si Cebu. Sino yung mga bagong players that could help them revitalize their stint here. Assist of the game brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the Mpbl. Your choice, your victory. Feel more game with 1xBet.
Well, there is one player that I think ang pinakainabangan talaga nila eh. And the clue was he's a former UAP champion and former PBA champion as well.
Yeah.
A lot of names come to mind, but if he's coming from Cebu, I think there's one guy that really fits the bill. And he hasn't played yet this season for any team, but he did play last year. Naisip mo ba kung sino?
Napaisip mo, Happy. Oh, Nick Demuses with a strong drive to the basket.
He's had John Hammond's number the entire game.
And they've been going at it from the start.
Great forward pass issued by Kenneth Mocon. You can still see that the Muse still possesses that athleticism.
Yeah.
The control in the air too, also very impressive, finishing through the contact.
London Arenas making his first appearance.
Well, that now signifies that Coach Don Dulay has been able to use all players in his lineup today, all 15 players.
Martel. Meneses, elbow jumper, no. Calvo comes away with it for Nueva Ecija. 97-66. Mocon. Short. Another rebound by Meneses. John Hamon contorts himself in midair. Got fouled.
Foul on number 2, JP Calvo.
Calvo commits that foul.
JP
Calvo with 5 fouls.
Congratulations, Mr. Calvo. You made it on your first game for Nueva Ecija. Give that guy a diploma.
John Hamon at the line.
Shooting 2.
Former EAC General John Hamon. You know, they started this season. Ang dami lang pyesa sana, Javi, no? They had Garen Mendoza in there. Yun nga, binanggit ko na, Jeco Bancale, Rashawn McCarthy, Ladis Lepalam, Dennis Santos. And they could have made a deep run here. Although hindi pa naman tapos tong season. And we're saying that because magiging ano na to eh, retooled na tong roster nito eh once the new management comes in full force. But you know, all they have to do is move forward, and for them they're set their sights on just getting into the play-in. Brian Mecca, after being scoreless in the first 3 quarters, now has 4 points in the fourth and a free throw coming up.
I don't think you can keep a scorer as good as Brian Mecca scoreless the entire game, especially if he's managed to play almost the entirety of this match. There's just no way you could keep him off the board.
The Danao City native, Ryle Meca, completes the three-point play.
At yung maganda kasi dito, Ken, itong bagong chapter that Cebu will flip in its book this season is that mas marami na talagang mga Cebuano ang magre-represent dito sa team na ito. Among the players, aside from the players that will be suiting up eventually for this team, I'm also excited to know who is gonna be the one calling the shots as the head coach.
Oh yeah.
Dahil I think Coach Mike Reyes might be out of the picture because of his new appointment as FEU's new head of basketball operations, new president of basketball operations. By the way, congrats again, Coach Mike, for that new job. So I still have no news kung sino ang magiging bagong head coach nitong Cebu.
174, 26-point lead. 2 minutes and 46 seconds left. Clark Derrigue. Shot down by Dolan Adlawan. Mocon inside. Meneses with another board. Forward pass broken up by Ryan Costello. Mark Meneses with 10 points and 12 rebounds. I know it's still probably 3 weeks away as Janamon scores another three-pointer. How do you see that matchup play out, Javi? Nueva Ecija versus Abra.
Well, definitely going to be a battle of experience versus youth. But despite the youth, Abra has shown the whole league that their youth is not a disadvantage para sa kanila. And in fact, has been more of an advantage rather than a disadvantage. Because of their youth, they have been able to play fast. They've been able to use different schemes offensively and defensively. And Coach Yong Garcia has come up with some unorthodox ways of coaching this team that has really gained the Weavers a lot of success.
And guys like CJ Austria, Joshua David have been rounding out the form after a slow start and then professional debuts. But boy, David Defonso pretty much scintillating para sa Abra. But of course, Nueva Ecija with a retooled lineup, still undefeated. The Marcelino twins, Robbie Celis in there. As we check out this play of the game, brought to you by 1xBet, the title sponsor of the Mpbl. Your choice, your victory. Feel more game with 1xBet. Sama mo pa to si Nick Demuses in the equation.
No, he's definitely gonna be one of the options for Coach Don Dulay to put on Dave Ildefonso in that game. Demuses possesses the height, he has the speed, and he has that upper body strength to keep it step with a young DI.
And the experience as well.
Correct, of course.
Tres ni Dondon Arenas. Pasok yan. 103-78. Because, no, just from my memory bank, parang wala pa nakakalaban si Dave na siguro kasing experience, kasing tatag nito ni Nick Demuses. No, I know he had a hard time against AJ Coronel when they lost to Pasay, but that was a time where he was still trying to adjust to the Mpbl brand of basketball. But since that loss, he has been on a tear, and that's a welcome matchup, no, yung Dave Ildefonso versus Nick Demuses. That block by Clark Derrigue on that Mark Meneses shot.
I'm sorry, I have to correct myself. Hindi pa pala nagamit lahat ng players ng Nueva Ecija dito sa laro na to. Bobby Balikan still without minutes on the floor in this game.
Arenas, Costello flips it up and in.
But aside from Bobby B, the rest of the team, lahat ng ginamit dito ay nakascore na para kay Coach Don Dulay.
105-78. Hombes can get that 3 to go. As Nueva Ecija continues to run. Costello, short stab, no. 30 seconds remaining. And a rousing debut para dito kay Nick Demuses. Announcing his entry in this lineup nitong Nueva Ecija. 16 wins without a loss. Arenas. Second three-pointer of the ball game for Don Arenas. Adlawan short. And Nueva Ecija will just burn some time here. Our final score, 30 points. After a tough first half, Cebu